how are you? Today I'm here with Baby Alive Hanna. Say hi to the little friends, sweetie. We came to show you how to make this cute little dress. Look how adorable it is. It's a little dress all covered in bees. Isn't it beautiful? It has little ruffles here. See, the sleeves are ruffled. It turned out so cute. It's really easy to make, and I'm sure it'll look perfect on your doll. If you're already enjoying this video, go ahead and hit the like button below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Down below, in the video description, there will be a link with the pattern for you to print out. So if you liked it, go check it out. Call your dad, mom, grandma, or aunt to help you, and let's get started with the step-by-step. To make this dress, I'm going to provide this pattern here, which is very similar to the Christmas dress pattern. If you already have that pattern, you can use it, because this one is the same. I just made it a little bit narrower. The Christmas one is a little bigger, but you can keep it the same size if you want, no problem. And in this dress, we have a change in the skirt. So, you're going to cut this piece 4 times, this piece here twice on the fabric fold, and this one here twice, also on the fabric fold. For the skirt, you'll cut a rectangle measuring 13 by 90. For the Christmas dress, it's 15 by 90. We reduced this one by 2 centimeters because we're going to add a ruffle. So, the ruffle will be 4 centimeters by 1.5. The ruffle should be about. It can be almost twice the width of the skirt, so it looks really nice. So, I already have my 4 pieces here. They'll make up the back part, 2 pieces for the front, my strip that will be the ruffle, and my skirt. For my skirt, I actually used less than 90 because I think my fabric was 1.5 meters wide, and I cut a strip of 13 and divided it in half since I always make 2 identical dresses. So it must have ended up being about 75. If you're only making one, you use 90. Since I made 2, I used 75 to make better use of the fabric. And here are the 2 ruffles for the dress sleeves. Now, what are we going to do? First thing to do, let's move these pieces out of the way. Let's take the top part and start assembling it. Let's grab, look, one of the back pieces. Let's line up shoulder to shoulder. And here, same thing, I'll line up shoulder to shoulder, and so here and here. I'll come to this other part and do the same thing. I'll line up here, look, shoulder to shoulder on both sides, so along both shoulders, and I'll end up with 2 pieces sewn together, back and front. I've already sewn my pieces. This is how they turned out. If you want, you can iron these here to keep them folded, or you can open up the seam, right? Either way is fine. You can either open it or push it to one side, and when you overlap, you push the other to the opposite side so you don't end up with too much fabric on the same side. So now I have everything sewn up. Now I'm going to take the 2 ruffles for the sleeve, and I'll go to my overlock machine. If you don't have an overlock, you can use a zigzag stitch, or you can even hem it if you want. I'm going to come along this straight part and run it through the overlock. That's it. If you don't have one, just fold it over, make a small fold and hem it, and run a zigzag stitch first so it doesn't fray. I'm going to do the same thing on both pieces. Once I've overlocked the edge here, I'll come to this curved part and sew a wide stitch to gather it. I'm going to do the same thing here as well. Now we're going to take one of the pieces of our little blouse, the ruffle that I've already overlocked at the hem and already sewn the gathering stitch along the top. Here, when I sew with a wide stitch on my machine, it already gathers a little bit, not quite enough, maybe, so we might need to gather it a bit more. I've also already marked the center. I folded my piece before sewing and marked the middle. I'm going to take this center mark and place it right here on top of the shoulder, like this, right sides together, with the overlock seam facing the neckline of the blouse. I'll align this mark exactly on top of the shoulder seam and pin it in place. Now I'll come here and leave about 1 centimeter from the start of the side under the arm and pin it there as well. And I'm going to come here from the other side to the other end of the ruffle, and I'm going to do the same thing. Leave about 1 centimeter of distance here, and I'm going to put the end of my ruffle and I'm going to fasten it. All set. Now I'm going to gather until I complete the space here. I'll pull one of the threads. Usually, we always pull the bottom thread, which is the one on the wrong side, and I'll gather this little ruffle here until it reaches the size I want. Look, I'll do it from this side. I always leave extra thread on both sides, right, so that I can, distribute the gathers better. Check it out. Gathering, when you reach the exact size, you adjust it nicely, lining it up with the armhole of the little blouse, and pin it in place to keep everything where it should be. Look, mine is lined up, so I'll put a pin here. Then I'll come over to the other side and do the same thing. I'll grab one end of the thread and gather it until it reaches the same size. Once it reaches the same size, I'll line it up with the armhole and pin it in place. I pinned my ruffle. Now I'll come over to the other side and do the same thing with the other ruffle. I've already pinned my ruffles. Now, if you want, you can go to the sewing machine and sew right here and here to secure this ruffle. If you feel more confident and have more sewing experience, you can go ahead and take the other piece, place right sides together, line everything up, and pin it all together. Then you can go to the sewing machine and sew it, securing everything at once. If you don't have the confidence to do that, first sew the ruffle, remove the pins, then place this top part, pin it again, and sew it. I've already sewn the armholes of the sleeves. Now I'm going to come here, look, and fold this little ruffle. Here too, I'm going to fold it so it doesn't stay right on the edge. I'm going to pin all the way around here and then go to the machine and sew along here, going around the neckline and down along the seam. We fold the ruffle so that we don't sew over it when we stitch here at the shoulder. With everything sewn, all you have to do is come here from the front and pull through the little sleeve ruffle, pulling it to turn your piece right side out. Just keep pulling carefully and it will all come out. And now you brought the back part to the outside. Then come to the other side and do the same thing. Pull through the other ruffle. It's really easy to turn it right side out. There you go. Now just fix everything here. The seams, the corners too, the points, see. Look at that. Now all you have to do is come here and remove that gathering stitch. You pull on the thread to remove it, because sometimes it shows up here in the front, see. Since I set a little further in, the thread is showing here on the ruffle, so you can just come and remove this thread. Now we're going to close the sides. Let's take the back part, turn it to the front, and open it up like this, see. We're going to line up a line, right? The seams down here. Place it right sides together like this, everything lined up, seam to seam. I'm going to pin one right here at the seam, another at this end, and another at the other end. Then just go to the machine and sew along here. I'll come over to the other side and do the same thing. I fold, align the two openings here, seam to seam, and I always press one seam allowance to one side and the other to the other side, so both aren't on the same side and you don't get a bunch of fabric all on one side. Then just line everything up and pin it in place. Once it's pinned, take it to the machine and sew right here. I've closed the side of my little blouse, and with that, the top part is already done. So now I'm going to set it aside and move on to the skirt. I'm going to take my ruffle and work on the bottom part. Always pay attention to the print always check the print on your fabric so it doesn't end up upside down. So I'm going to come here to the bottom part and serge all along the edge. If you don't have a serger, use a zigzag stitch, and if you want, fold it over and make a tiny hem. I'm just going to use the serger, and on the top part, I'm going to sew a wide stitch so I can gather it. To make the skirt, the first thing, I'm going to fold the skirt in half, then make a little notch down here to mark the middle, and do the same at the top. I'm going to mark the middle, both at the top and at the bottom. I'll fold it in half again and make another little notch here, see, both at the bottom and at the top. Everything is marked properly. Since my fabric is printed and the print has a direction, I'm going to check which side is up and which side is down. Look, this is the bottom. It goes like this. I'm going to take my ruffle, which I've already marked the center before gathering, right? I marked the center. See, it's right here. So I'm going to place it like this, right sides together on the bottom part of my skirt. And I'm going to align the mark I made in the middle of my ruffle with the mark I made in the middle of my skirt. Just like this, I'm going to pin it in place. Now I'll come here, match up the ends, align them, and pin them as well. And I made a mark here halfway along, right, like I told you, so I did it both on my ruffle and on my skirt. So I'm going to look for where I marked it here. See, found it, and I'm going to pin it here too. This way, all my gathers will be evenly distributed around my skirt. One side won't end up more gathered than the other. See, it'll all be even. Then I come over to the other side and do the same thing. I make sure the whole ruffle is facing the right way, right sides together, because it tends to curl up, so you have to completely unroll it so you don't pin it while it's curled. I'm going to pin it here at the tip and now at the center. Let me find where I made my mark and gather up the whole ruffle, because it's a bit gathered but still loose. So I need to pull my thread here and keep gathering until it matches the length of my ruffle. Then I go ahead and pin the whole thing in place. I've already distributed and pinned my entire ruffle. Now all that's left is to take it to the sewing machine and stitch the ruffle in place. After I sew it, I'll remove the gathering thread, serge it so it doesn't fray. Then I'll turn the ruffle right side out and sew a top stitch to secure it, so the ruffle stays nice and neat, all laying down properly. With my ruffle already sewn, like I said, look, I sewed it, attached the ruffle to the skirt, turned it over, and top stitched it, right? I finished it with a serged edge so it wouldn't fray, turned it over, and top stitched it so it would lay flat. See, that way it looks all neat and tidy. I also serged the sides, see, catching both the ruffle and the skirt. Now you just need to fold it, about 5 millimeters or so, and sew along here and here as well. Fold it and sew, then you come to the top part. I'm going to sew 2 lines. You can do just one if you want, but I like to sew 2 lines with a long stitch to gather my skirt. I closed the sides and sewed the 2 lines. Like I said, when I increase the stitch length on my machine, it already gathers automatically, right? So now I just need to check if it's enough to fit here. If it isn't, I just need to gather it a little more, just adjust it. So now I'm going to find the center of my little blouse. I'll line up the side seams here and fold it to find the middle of my blouse, which is right here. See? I found the center. Here I'll pin it, just so I know where the center is, right? I'll adjust here too so it looks neat. So the center is right here. And I had already marked the center here on my skirt too, right? I just need to look for it here in the gathered part. Look, I found the center here where I marked it. I'm going to take the right side of my blouse. How do I know it's the right side? Because my ruffle is on the right side. If it were the other way around, the ruffle would be, this part here would be on top. So, this here is the front part, the right side. I'm going to take the center of my blouse and align it with the center of my ruffle and pin it here. Remember that I also made a little mark in the center? I folded it in half, then folded it in half again. That's so I can mark the side. So, this side that I cut here, which is in the middle of the ruffle, I'm going to align it with this side here. Look, I'm going to put a seam, the fabric allowance, one to each side, here on the inside, so it doesn't get too bulky, and I'm going to take this seam and align it with that other mark I made. Then I'll pin it as well. And here, the tip of my little blouse, I'm going to pin it to the end of my skirt, lining up the end of the skirt exactly with the end of the blouse. Then you just have to align everything properly and pin it in place. Now I'm going to come over to the other side and do the same thing. Look, my gathering is almost the same size. I'll still need to pull it a little more to adjust it. I'm going to adjust everything and pin it. After pinning, I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew along the entire length. Then I'll use the overlock to finish the edges. I've attached my ruffle and used the overlock to finish the edges. Now you just need to come over here to the right side. Let's fold this little flap up like this, and we're going to sew it down, securing the flap upwards all along the waistband of our skirt, of our little dress. I've already sewn it. Look how cute it looks. It all lays flat, all facing down. See? All neat and tidy. Now you just need to come to the back and attach the Velcro. I put one part on this side, at the top, and the other at the bottom. And then your dress will be ready. So, friends, what did you think of this dress style? Did you like it? It turned out really cute, didn't it? Isn't it adorable? You can make this style in lots of different prints, and your doll will have plenty of little dresses to show off. It looks so beautiful. Look at the little ruffle down here, how it makes the dress even cuter. It's adorable, isn't it? It turned out so cute, and look how practical it is, right? See, it's all open and has a lot of flair. It's really beautiful. So if you liked the video, leave your like down below, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos, and share this video with your friends so they can also make beautiful outfits for their baby alives. Here on the channel, there's a playlist called DIY, which is packed with cool things for you to make for your doll. For every baby alive model featured here on the channel, I teach you how to make something. Clothes, accessories, backpacks, there's everything on this channel, so hurry over there to check it out. So, friends, a big kiss and see you in the next video. Bye. You have to say bye, sweetie. Say bye to your friends. Say bye. Let mommy squish your pacifier. Oh, she was about to say bye-bye, but I squeezed her pacifier. Poor thing. Bye, friends.